Hi everyone, welcome back to the 2025 Ontario Business Achievement Awards, brought to you by our series presenting partner, Canadian National Railway. I'm Daniel Tisch, President and CEO of the Ontario Chamber of Commerce. Our theme this year is building a stronger Ontario, competitiveness and resilience. As our country grapples with economic uncertainty, we need bold leadership to secure Ontario's future. That's why we're spotlighting Ontario business leaders who've shown courage and adaptability to drive a more competitive and resilient economy. And the key word for this episode is driving. Before we get into that, we want to offer a big thanks to our episode partner, Northbridge Insurance, without whom we couldn't have put on this program. In this episode, we're shining a light on an industry that keeps our economy moving, literally. We're looking at trucking and transportation. According to Government of Canada statistics, more than 397,000 people in Ontario were employed in transportation and warehousing in 2023. That's 5% of our workforce, and 29% of those people are dedicated to moving goods by road in trucks across our province. To tell us more, here's my colleague, Esther Gerasim. Esther.
Thanks, Dan. Did you know that as of August 2025, there are 2,537 trucking companies across Ontario? The trucking industry touches nearly everything, from consumer goods and retail products to agriculture and food, from industrial and manufacturing materials to pharmaceuticals and basically everything in between. Today, we will be hearing about the daily operations from two different Ontario trucking companies, Ivan Armstrong Trucking and the Tandit Group of Companies. But just before we do, this program would not be possible without our episode partner, so a special shout out to our friends at Northbridge Insurance.
The Canadian transportation industry plays a vital role in our economy and in our everyday lives, and it's rapidly evolving, today more than ever. In a business where time is money, you need stable and long-term partners who not only understand your challenges, but can help you deliver your promises safely, in compliance with regulations, and on time. At Northbridge Insurance, our focus has always been on our customers. We've been helping trucking companies like yours navigate risks on and off the road for more than 65 years. We offer in-depth industry expertise, relationships with Canada's top transportation brokers, and a range of tailored insurance and risk management solutions geared at helping to protect your business and keep it moving forward, so you can worry less about your risks and focus more on the opportunities. And together, we can move Canada towards a safer and brighter future.
I started in my late 30s. I had run a small business for 17 years. And I became burnt out. So I thought to myself, how am I going to get paid to travel? So trucking came to my mind, and an acquaintance drives a truck. So I spoke with him about it, and he's like, yeah, go get your license.
Well, I started at a college as a commercial helicopter pilot, and then with that, I got my AZ to kind of move the helicopters and stuff around. And so then when I got out of that, I got into long-haul trucking.
So it's not one challenge, it's a constant challenge. Be it snow, fog, freezing rain, ice on the roads, poor maintenance. You need to know when to stop. An operator of a truck is the captain of their own ship. So if it becomes too difficult, stop. We're not transporting organs. So it's no load is more important than your life.
I try and get enough sleep. I need my 8 hours, so I usually plan my routes that way, trying to stop with appropriate amount of time, and then just listening to podcasts or keeping myself awake by keeping my mind sharp.
Believe it or not, limit your caffeine. 1 to 2 cups of coffee a day are okay, but more than that, and it kind of has a counterintuitive effect. Lots of water. Stop every 3-4 hours.
We have to both effectively communicate with our customer as well as our drivers to make sure that the drivers know about the changes and understand them. And then that way we can still be efficient when we're making those changes and still maintain our customer satisfaction. We also have to be sometimes creative in dispatch when it comes to dealing with changes, additions, cancellations. It could mean adding multiple runs together or changing the order of a run, or even having drivers switch trailers somewhere out on the road and switch runs completely depending on their hours of service. But overall, we usually work as a team in the dispatch office. That's why we all sit together, so that we can communicate effectively, and we usually work really well together under pressure.
I mean, I think the general public are not aware of a lot of the regulations the drivers are subjected to. They have different regulations in terms of blood alcohol level, in terms of what lanes they can drive in. They have other space requirements that the public really doesn't understand. Trucks are also capped at 105 kilometers per hour. So when you're frustrated that you can't get around a truck, he can't go any faster.
Truck drivers in Canada are only allowed to drive up to 13 hours, and they must take 10 hours off duty.
We have onboard computers in the trucks that really track everything that the truck and the driver do. And on top of that, now we have AI analyzing the camera data from the front of the truck to try and prevent incidents from happening, or notify us of behaviors that we may want to correct or at least review.
These systems create real-time warnings for truck drivers, as well as it gives the company the tools to identify unsafe behaviors.
I think managing the people is the most important part of what we do, because all the technology that we have, all the data that we have, means nothing if the person that you're teaching doesn't believe that you're trying to make them better or that they're learning something valuable. So having relationships with the drivers, especially in my group, the safety group, is very important. They need to trust that we're there to help them, not that we're there to hurt them. So we spend a lot of time coaching drivers and fostering those relationships.
Distraction and fatigue both can impair decision-making and alertness, and it's similar to alcohol impairment.
I think is the same for drivers and the general population. Distracted driving. The phones need to go away, people need to be trained better, and we will be a better industry for it.
I think it'd be trending more towards all electric trucks, with more autonomous trucks out there than there are now, going from distribution center to distribution center, with the human drivers being the first and last mile. So from the distribution center to the customer or factory and back. And then from main hub to main hub is all, I would think, autonomous driving.
So in 2035, the industry will obviously shift. Today, it's working on alternate fuels, alternate modes of power. So electricity is going to play a significant role in certain segments of the industry. Hydrogen is going to play a role in other segments of the industry.
What we're going to see is a lot of hub and spoke models developing in the industry, which we've seen evolve over the last 10 years. What I think is that multimodal forms of transportation, looking at rail, looking at ocean, are going into these hub centers and then distributing from there. So the hub being the port or the large major center, and then the spoke being the distribution from that larger center.
Tariffs are affecting the manufacturing end of our economy, and transportation plays a significant role in the manufacturing business. Because manufacturing is being upset in the process, manufacturing activity has reduced. That means transportation activity reduces.
The industry has felt the tariffs for sure. Border waits have got much longer, as well as the reduced freight because of the higher costs of freight due to the tariffs. We've had to look more local as far as product and shipments within Ontario, and that's where we've been able to mediate that.
Tariffs have been a really interesting challenge to deal with economically and from a business planning standpoint. And rather than the specific nature of this tariff versus that tariff, primarily it's creating an environment of concern, confusion, and uncertainty. And I think that that's really the primary concern that we have here. There is an uncertainty in, will tariffs escalate? Will they de-escalate? Will deals get done? Will they not get done? And that is translating into indecision within businesses.
I'm not just an owner. An owner is one hat that I wear. The other hat that I wear is an operator's hat, and I love the fact that there is nothing the same in this business. Every day is different. We have different issues. We don't have a controlled environment. We operate in an environment where everybody else kind of controls us, which is frustrating at times, but invigorating at others when you can figure out ways to make it easier, more effective, more efficient, and ultimately allows the business to grow and the people within the business to grow as well.
If you imagine every single item that exists anywhere at some point hit a truck, we see, food manufacturing, we see product manufacturing. The transportation industry really touches all facets of life.
My favorite part would just be leading something that has been built by the previous generations and carrying on those traditions, and I take a lot of pride and responsibility with carrying on what they started, creating jobs and opportunities for local people and keeping them succeeding too.
From around the corner or from across the country, it's amazing to see just some of the faces behind our day-to-day deliveries. Stay tuned though, there's even more to come. But first, we want to say thank you to our series presenting partner, CN.
Getting 300 million tons of freight to market and powering the economic growth of a nation, that takes a lot. It takes fortitude and focus, a strong footprint, and a commitment to reducing it. It takes partnerships, communities, collaboration. It takes a vision and care for one another. It takes all of us together into the future.
I would say we use a combination of strategic planning, real-time decision-making, and communication when planning the driver's schedules and keeping with on-time deliveries. We take into consideration driver preferences as well as their abilities and training when we plan the routes, and on top of that, their hours of service to make sure that when we're doing their weekly planning, we also leave in some buffer time for any delays. But overall, we try to balance their well-being along with our regulatory compliance and our operational procedures and proficiency to make it all work smoothly. And we want to make sure that our drivers are okay when they're out in the truck or if they're gone for longer periods of time, things like that. So making sure they are okay when they're out there is part of a dispatcher's job for sure. We're not therapists by any means, but we do try to make sure they're okay when they're out in the truck if they need something.
Make sure I drink lots of water. I get lots of rest, well, as much rest as I can. And when I've been on the road for more than 3-4 weeks, I need to get out. It's a feel, and it comes with driving over time when I need to get out of the truck for a few days.
So I take care of my mental health by usually listening to podcasts while I'm driving so that I don't just get in my head. And then when I stop at night, if I've been gone for a while, I'll call my family or someone, friends or family, so that I can talk to them and hear them, or just read a book, keep me busy.
I do experience satisfaction, but I expect nothing less. It all comes down to my planner. My planner gives me lots of time to get to my destination. And with a good relationship with your planner, you shouldn't have any issues under normal circumstances. Now, if the weather comes up and the roads are closed, or you're in the middle of a blizzard in Western Canada, then your load will be late and there's nothing you can do about it. And sometimes, not very often with our equipment, we have really good equipment, but sometimes you break down. So that's out of my control. So if it's within my control, I will be there on time.
I'm really satisfied when we make it far, like a far distance, or if we've had problems, just hiccups, then you're very satisfied that you've done everything you could to get it there.
Recently, we had a driver who really felt unwell when he was out in the truck, so we had him pull over and he ended up needing some medical assistance. So we had to first things make sure he got medical assistance right away, and we worked with our safety department on that. And then the next part of that plan was I need to get his truck and trailer recovered. So I had to find 2 more drivers that both still had the hours of service available for that day. Driver A had to drive them both up to the truck and trailer, which was a few hours away, and then driver B had to be able to operate the heavy truck with the flatbed, which not all the drivers can do, so I had to make sure we had a driver who could operate that. And then driver A went and picked up the original driver after he received the medical attention that he needed and got the all clear from the hospital. And then everyone did end up at home that evening safe, and the load got delivered, so it worked out okay.
One of the main reason of our success is serving fresh quality of food with fresh ingredients. Being able to do that, of course, we need a good transportation of supplier to be able to supply us like fresh quality of food on time.
Well, thanks, Esther. You really kept that conversation rolling. These stories make for great reminders about how Ontario depends on thousands of businesses just like Ivan Armstrong Trucking and the Tandit Group of companies to keep our economy competitive. As we wrap up this episode, I want to thank our OBAA series presenting partner, Canadian National Railway, and our episode partner, Northbridge Insurance. Finally, thanks to you, our viewers. Don't forget to join the conversation. You'll find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and of course the Ontario Chamber website. Until next time, stay connected and stay inspired.